Hey folks, Eric Prairie, Focus Fishing Guide Service. Got another video fishing report for you for Table Rock. It is Wednesday, August the 7th. Boy, been out on the water every day. Sorry we didn't get this done yesterday, but had a long trip and then had some other things going on and just could not get everything done on Tuesday like I normally do, so getting her done on Wednesday. As far as our lake level is concerned, we're back to normal pool, 916.98 this morning. Probably going to come up a little bit because they are releasing water from Beaver, but not releasing anything from Table Rock this morning. Most of our generation pattern on Table Rock has been in the afternoon to meet power demand, but we're back at normal pool essentially. Beaver's still a little bit high, Bull Shoals is still high, but they're dropping Bull Shoals about as fast as I've ever seen them drop it, so they've got that thing running wide open. Water temperature, not a lot of changes, mid 80s, 84, 85, 86, 87, just kind of depends on what part of the lake you're at. Can find some 90-degree water if you go up into the rivers, especially up the Kings. You get up above Sweetwater, you're in the 90s. James, not quite as bad, upper 80s. You might see 90, 92 if you get in the back of some of those dirty creeks. But for the most part, we're in the 80s, and we are in a summer pattern, and the bite is okay. It's getting better down at the dam, but if you guys are coming down, say you're going to fish the lower end of the lake. The lower end of the lake is still tough, but with them shutting off the water, they are starting to bite a little bit better down there. You don't have the current, so you can catch a few out there first thing in the morning on a topwater. Seems like most of the topwater fish in the dam area have been around something, whether it be around standing timber, around boat docks, around commercial docks, around wave breaks. Have a spook, a Sammy, a popper, a whopper plopper, whatever you like to throw tied on, because there have been quite a few fish coming up busting around docks, around trees, on bluff ends, that sort of stuff. First thing in the morning. Bite lasts, depending on the day, anywhere from about 30 minutes to maybe an hour. Just depends on how much cloud cover, how much sunlight penetration you've got. But the bite is not real strong on a topwater down there. From there, we're going to either a swim bait, either the Bass Pro 3-inch speed shad or the Kitech 2.8, throwing it on a 1/4 ounce head, and again, we're throwing it on light line, throwing it on 6-pound test line. Have been catching a few doing that in those same locations that you're catching them on a topwater. After that, you're going to be fishing deep with either a drop shot rig or a spoon. Drop shot with the shad shaped worm, cut tail worm, UV drop shot worm, chompers drop shot worm. All these fish are coming out of trees, guys. We're not catching anything on gravel flats to speak of, or very few on gravel flats or gravel points. Everything is relating to timber. Again, we're still fishing the same deal that we have been for the last few weeks, where we're basically fishing wintertime spots. Still no thermocline, so we're fishing these deeper trees, both in the creeks, on the main lake, on bluff ends, that sort of thing. Just look for these deeper trees. You'll see shad around them, you'll see fish around them, and you can usually pick off a few doing that. Same deal with the spoon. We are fishing it above trees, around trees, nothing on gravel flats. It's nice to have a spoon tied on, even if you're not dropping it down, if you're drop shotting, because we do have some random fish just coming up and busting now and again. And you can wing that 1-ounce Jewel scuba spoon at them, rip it and kill it, rip it and kill it right where those fish are, and you can pick up a couple extra fish doing that a day. And go up into the mid-lake area. Same bites are working. Definitely going to have a topwater tied on first thing in the morning. Spook, Sammy, whopper, plopper, surge shad, whatever you like to throw as your topwater. And again, these fish seem to be relating to either cover, like some sort of cover, either trees, bigger docks, bluff ends with trees on them. They're relating to something. They're not just out in the middle of nowhere. They are relating to the trees. It's probably the same fish we're catching drop shotting, but first thing in the morning for about 45 minutes to an hour and a half, you can catch them on topwater. Have a topwater tied on. Same deal with the swim bait. Bass Pro Speed Shad in 3-inch, Kitech Fat Impact in 2.8 on a 1/4 ounce head, on light line. Those same locations, just working it over top of those trees, throwing it out, counting it down on a 1/4 ounce head. If you count it down about a 15 count, that'll get you right around that 20 to 25 foot range. Slow roll that thing in. Do not work it too fast. Keep your rod tip at 45 degrees, and the bite is very subtle, so don't expect them to knock the rod out of your hand. They're just going to barely tick it, so make sure you have that tied on. Drop shot, of course, is working, catching a lot of fish on a shad shape, cut tail, UV drop shot worm, chompers, drop shot worm, same deal, fishing trees. Most of the trees are topping off around 35 feet. A lot of the fish are in that 30-foot range down to about 50-foot range, just like a summertime or a wintertime pattern. Dropping a drop shot or dropping the jewel scuba spoon around those trees, in those trees, and working it fairly slow. You're not going to catch a ton of fish. The fish are scattered, but you can get over a group of trees and catch 6 or 8 fish in pretty short order. So keep that in mind. The last bite that's working down there, we have been starting to catch them on a jig a little bit, especially earlier in the day. One of the patterns I've kind of been following is I'll throw a topwater for about the first 30 or 40 minutes. When that breaks up, I've been going to more gravel and rock mixed main lake points and fishing a 7/16 Jewel Pro Spider jig, you know the colors, Okeechobee, blue, green, pumpkin, candy, from about 12 to about 25 foot deep. That bite lasts for about an hour, and it's mostly smallmouth. I think some of those are carryover smallmouths that are feeding normally at night that are still up there while it's not, before the sun gets up too high. So we have been catching them on a Jewel Pro Spider jig as well, and a few on the squirrel head too, with whatever you want to put on a squirrel head, finesse worm, beaver, speed crawl, whatever you want to put on there. We have been catching a few doing that too on those gravel and rock mixed main lake points, anywhere from about 12 to about 20 foot deep early. Once the sun comes up, that bite really goes away in a hurry. Those fish move out deep, and I really think they quit feeding because most of them are smallmouth, and I think most of those are feeding at night. Go up into the James. Fished the James a couple of times this week. I was actually kind of disappointed in the James a couple of times this week. Didn't go way up, didn't go up to Cape Fair, made up around point 12 a couple of times. Same bites are working up there. You know, you definitely want to have a topwater tied on. It just doesn't seem that those fish are as aggressively chasing shad as they are, say, where I am today in the White, or even down by Kimberling City. Can catch them on a spook, a Sammy, whopper, plopper. Up the James, you can catch a few on a jig as well, the Jewel Pro Spider jig in 5/16 or 7/16. Water's not real cloudy, not real stained. It's just got a good stain to it. Catching a few around docks, just pitching it around docks into the shade of the docks. Have been catching a few doing that with a jig, anywhere from 10 to about 20 feet deep. And then catching actually a few more on a spoon than I am a drop shot up there. The Jewel Scuba Spoon. In the treetops again, bluff ends, back in some of the bigger creeks, Ants Creek, Woolly, getting over top of some of those deeper trees. They're not quite as deep as they are, you know, say down by the dam or in the Kimberling City area. Most of these fish and trees there are around 25 to 30 feet deep, and that's about where the trees top out at. And again, you're not going to load the boat. The fish are really scattered right now, but you can catch a few on a Jewel Scuba Spoon up there as well. Come up into the White where I am today. Definitely got to have a topwater tied on. Last 2 times I've been up in the White, we've had a topwater bite that's lasted about an hour to an hour and a half. Spook, Sammy, whopper, plopper, surge shad, whatever your favorite topwater is, make sure you've got that tied on right now, because we are catching a lot of fish on top. Again, they're relating to cover, whether it be treetops, bigger docks, bluff ends with trees. They're relating to some sort of cover. And some of it is not visible cover. Some of it may be trees that are just topping out about 15 or 20 feet below the surface. The fish are sitting down in there. Shad come by, they blow up. You can catch several fish on a topwater here first thing in the morning. Then we're throwing the swim bait just like we are everywhere else. We're throwing either the 3-inch speed shad or the Kitech in 2.8 on a 1/4 ounce head. And we're just kind of slowly swimming that over top of those same trees. If the tree's up at about 15 feet, don't let it sink as far. Most of the fish, though, I'm letting it sink down about a 12 to a 15 count. Slow rolling that thing in, and again, they're not hitting it hard. They're just kind of loading up on it. So be ready for them. Be ready for a soft bite. Excuse me, drop shot bite. Again, a lot of fish coming on a drop shot. Probably 65 to 70% of the fish I'm catching up here are on a drop shot right now. Shad shape, cut tail, UV drop shot worm, chompers drop shot worm. Color doesn't seem to make that big of a difference. Using natural shad on the shad shape, using all brown purple laminate, and using red bug on the worms. It doesn't seem to make that big of a difference. It's just a matter of finding some active fish. Again, we're fishing treetops. Most of the trees are topping off around 30, 35 foot deep. Some of them a little bit deeper, but most of the fish are in that 30 to 35 foot range. Again, some a little bit deeper. in the creeks, on the bluff ends. I'm looking for standing timber and catching fish out of standing timber. Catching a few on the spoon as well, the Jewel Scuba Spoon, in these same locations. Seems like if I find a real active school of fish, I can catch more on the spoon because I can work it faster than I can the drop shot. But all in all, day in, day out, I'm probably catching more on a drop shot than I am on a spoon right now up here. And then a football jig and a spider jig up here. I actually fished up above Shell Knob a couple times this past week, up in Big M area, kind of around point, what is that, 23 up there. And caught some pretty decent fish on a Jewel football jig in 5/8 ounce with the full skirt and a bigger super speed crawl on there as a trailer. Most of those fish were about 15 to 25 foot deep. Again, it's rock and gravel mixed. I'm not really catching anything on pure gravel. And then a few around boat docks up there as well with the 7/16 ounce Pro Spider jig, Okeechobee Blue, Green Pumpkin Candy with just the regular speed crawl on it, around the shade of boat docks once the sun gets up. Catching a few doing that. Better quality, but you know, it's not something that you're going to go load the boat. You're not going to go out and catch 30 or 40 fish doing that, but you might catch 5 or 10 good fish doing that, flipping a jig or working a football jig out a little bit deeper. Guys, we are, what is this? First week of August. Got one more week till all the kids go back to school. We will get the lake back after that. All this traffic you see behind me will be gone. Then we got 2 weeks of that. Then we get Labor Day, and that'll be a nightmare with boat traffic. But then after that, we get the lake back. The bite is, it's kind of weird. The bite down by the dam's definitely getting better. Catching more fish down there than we have in the last probably month. Now that they've shut the water off. The bite across the rest of the lake is still good. You have great days and then you have tougher days. It really just depends on the weather. Today was a pretty good day. Yesterday was extremely tough. It just depends on the weather. Yesterday was hot, humid, bluebird skies, and we struggled to get bit. Today was kind of overcast with a light south wind, and they bit pretty good. So every day is a little bit different, but we are catching fish every day. If you guys are coming down, I say this every week, but if you guys want to learn how to drop shot or fish deep, now's the time to book a trip. Through the end of August into September, we'll be drop shotting every day. And like I said, I'm catching 70 to 75% of my fish on drop shot right now. I can show you how to do it on bluffs. I can show you how to do it in the trees, show you how to do it around docks, show you how to do it on gravel runouts. Whatever you want to learn on a drop shot, now is the time to do that. We are definitely catching more fish on a drop shot right now than just about any other pattern. But if you're coming down, want to hire a guide, give me a call. It's Focus Fishing Guide Service. You can reach me at 417-860-4743. Hit my website, focusfishing.com. Shoot me an email or book online. Either way, I'll get back to you as soon as I can, usually within 12 hours. But get a hold of me. We'll go out, we'll catch some fish, might learn something about the electronics, whatever it is. But get a hold of me. We'll go fishing. We'll have fun. Guys, thanks for watching the videos. If you haven't subscribed, please take a minute to subscribe. I do appreciate that. But thanks for watching. Can't wait to hear from you. We'll see you on the water.